At the GOP debate, Rick Santorum went full crazy.
Next question on the U.S. Supreme Court. It's been 42 years, Senator Santorum, since Roe versus Wade, and many consider in this country to be a case of settled law. Recently, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled on same-sex marriage. Is that now settled law in America today?
It is not any more than Dred Scott was settled law to Abraham Lincoln, who in his first inaugural address said it won't stand. And they went ahead and passed laws in direct contravention to a rogue Supreme Court. This is a rogue Supreme Court decision. Just like Justice Roberts said, there is no constitutional basis for the Supreme Court's decision.
He said that marriage equality is settled law as much as Dred Scott was settled law back in 1857. Okay, let me remind you what the Dred Scott case was about. So in 1857, Dred Scott was a freed slave who went to the North and then tried to sue his previous slaveholders. And what happened was the court had held that African Americans, regardless of their status, if they were free or unfree, that they could not become American citizens, and that Dred Scott therefore had no legal standing in court. That's what the Dred Scott case is about, and Rick Santorum thinks that there's some parallels between the Dred Scott case and the Obergefell case, which is the one that legalized marriage equality. Now, you can't compare marriage equality to the Dred Scott case because they're not the same thing. That's a false equivalence, but of course he's going to do that anyway. And furthermore, the court was wrong in the Dred Scott case because they took rights away. But with respect to the marriage equality case, they're actually extending rights. See, the reason why we didn't like Dred Scott in the first place is because it made citizens less equal. It took rights away from them and made them less free. And the reason why we like the marriage equality case is because it does the opposite of what the Dred Scott case does, in effect. What it does is it legalizes marriage equality and makes gay citizens more equal, more free. There's more rights, and collectively, as a result, we're all more free because of this decision. So you can't take these two cases and say, well, we disagreed with Dred Scott, so we can disagree with this case and say it's the same thing, because they're not the same thing. And furthermore, the judges in the Dred Scott case are on the wrong side of history. Now, the judges who voted against marriage equality, such as Justice Thomas, Alito, Scalia, Roberts, well, they're all on the wrong side of history. So they are more akin to the justices in the Dred Scott case who voted on the wrong side of history, but he doesn't realize that. So now he quotes Justice Roberts by saying there's no constitutional basis for same-sex marriages. It is a fact that Justice Roberts was quoted saying that. Now, if there's no constitutional basis for that, I'm going to let you guys decide. I'm going to go ahead and read you the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, which was the constitutional basis for marriage equality in all 50 states. It says, quote, "No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws." So if you can read that and conclude that gay people are not equal and that they shouldn't have equal marriage rights, well, then you don't have a valid constitutional argument. You're just wrong. And just like Justice Roberts, Rick Santorum is also going to be on the wrong side of history. So this is a false equivalence that he made, and Rick Santorum has proven once again that he's a Looney Tune. We thought that he was going to try to shift gears in the 2016 election, and he was going to try to focus more on blue-collar workers as opposed to social issues such as abortion and same-sex marriage. But as we see, he just can't separate himself from those loony views because he is an extremist.